gotta say something that's going to ruffle some feathers. Now, Celtic refers to a language family, not a people, not a culture, not a tradition. Definitely not a spiritual tradition. Now, the languages in that family would include Irish, Welsh, Breton, Scots Gaelic, Cornish, and Manx. And these are the supposed Celtic nations, but Celtic originally was a term that was used by academics, by archaeologists, by anthropologists, by historians specifically. There was never one Celtic civilization or one Celtic religion. The Romans used Keltoi as a catch-all term for various tribes that they didn't even bother to differentiate. Therein lies our problem. Think of the Roman Empire, imperialist, colonizing. The Keltoi tribes were not worth differentiation. The Celtic people, as they're so called, as we are so called, which would include Irish, obviously, we are our own tribes within that differentiation. And the reason that we don't have the differentiation is not from the Roman Empire in our modern times, but from another imperialist colonizer culture. Because modern, Celtic spirituality is largely a 19th and 20th century invention. Very much comes from romantic nationalism. Probably did start to a certain extent in Ireland. No, actually, it goes further. Welsh druids, and I use that term very loosely, secret societies had decided very early on that this Celtic notion was something that was spicy, a little bit exotic. And this is the imperialist mentality. So I really want you to understand where this comes from. And the idea that Celtic anything, and I'm talking even from the perspective of an Irish historian, which I am, I have a master's in Irish history, and I studied the period of the Celtic or the Gaelic revival here in Ireland. We try to call it the Gaelic revival, but it is widely known as the Celtic revival. So yes, it has come from within the island as well. It's not just outsiders or imperialists who are naming us as Celtic and refusing to differentiate. However, think about the time that the Gaelic revival or the Celtic revival was happening in. It was cultural specifically. It was very much the idea of the Druids and the Druids having a noble heritage here in Ireland was a very important one, and one that I explored in my master's thesis, the development of Irish identity in the 18th and 19th centuries. It was the place of Ogham in the development of Irish identity. So I know of what I speak, and I am telling you that Irish tradition has its own name, its own gods, its own landscape, its own text. We don't need this umbrella, and it doesn't do anybody a service, because all you really get is a homogeneous blob, as we call it in this household, or let's say a smoothie instead of the original fruits. And sometimes you just want a smoothie, and that's okay, but really understand what's happening there is this blend of quite different and disparate cultures under one archaeologically or academically convenient umbrella. And in Ireland and in Britain, where was the academics held? It was in the ascendancy culture. Specifically in Ireland, it was in the Protestant ascendancy culture. So they got to name the terms, and they quite freely used Celtic, but we don't need to. So in today's modern spirituality, if someone is selling you Celtic anything, just ask yourself, which culture does this actually come from? Which land, which sources, which native opinions, which native experiences. And if they can't answer you, then that's your answer. So speaking just in my particular lane, Irish is specific, and specific is where the real stuff lives. This is our lived tradition here on the island. If you want to start with actual Irish tradition, I do have a free resource below. That's where I'd start. And you can go, it is the 3 pillars of modern Irish pagan spirituality. So this is Lora O'Brien from the Irish Pagan School, and I will see you in the next video.